Welcome to Work the Left Side. I'm beyond hyped to announce tonight's guest. I'm joined by the awesomeness that is Luca Brigante. Hopefully I've said that right. I suck at pronunciation, so I do apologize. But I know, actually, you know what? Yeah, I have got that right. Mr. Luca Brigante. There we go. I'll put a bit of extra oomph on it.
Thank you for having me.
Dude, no, mate, thank you so much for coming on and chatting. Obviously, you know, I've said to a lot of people recently, I've been kind of reaching out and asking people to come on, and there's a lot of people that I've been wanting to speak to for a long time, but I'm always kind of really nervous about just, I don't know, sliding into DMs. It's, you know, I don't want to be that guy. So unless we've had like limited interactions, I'm a bit like, oh crap, do I ask? Do I not ask? And I've kind of been like, right, you know what? Sorry, let's just ask. I know I've seen you. I've talked to you at True Grit, you know, when you've been helping out there, kind of thing. So I didn't feel like a total, you know, who's this dude messaging me kind of thing. So.
Yeah, no, I understand that. I'm horrible. I know that I probably shouldn't say this because it's very important to be good on social media, but I'm really terrible with this kind of stuff.
So it obviously it helps, but
yeah,
I mean, it's also like, you know, getting out there, just, I don't know, the face-to-face aspect of it all, you know, obviously is still the key. So as long as you're getting out there, people are sort of seeing what you're doing, which is obviously something we're going to talk about because, you know, I'm seeing you pop up in more and more places now, kind of thing. So obviously, yeah, whatever you're doing is working. So, I mean, I saw you, we'll talk about it. So I saw you at UKW a few weeks ago. You know, you made I think it was your debut at UKW against George Hunter.
Yeah, it was very good. It was. I've met George a couple of times in training, and I've seen him, like, obviously he's been doing quite well. So I was quite excited not only to come to UKW for the first time, but also to have a match with George Hunter. It was fun. It was fun. We had fun. It was a great opportunity.
That's it. That's obviously the key word is, you know, you had fun. You had good chemistry as well. You know, obviously I was there in person, I saw the match, and it was kind of like, because again, you know, I know both you guys kind of obviously, you know, train at Pursuit nowadays, and I didn't know how much you sort of knew, because I know obviously, you know, I can't just presume because some people train at Pursuit, they know each other really well because different days, different things. You know, it might just be that you know each other in passing. I've learned that lesson because I've been like, oh, you must know each other really well, you know, to somebody else. Like, no, I barely ever see him. I'm like, oh crap, okay.
Yeah, that's literally the case. We've probably done a session together once, but yeah, I've seen him that he's doing really. He is doing really well. I had fun, but that's my approach to wrestling in general. To be honest, every time I feel quite blessed because I'm a big fan of wrestling, and the fact that I'm able to do it, it still, it hasn't lost that magic for me. That I still think every time I go to a show, I think, what the hell? I'm on a wrestling show. I can't believe it.
Somebody pinch me, please.
Yeah. No, honestly. So I try to always have fun because that's what brings me to it.
Dude, that's awesome. That's great. Because I say, you know, because that's the thing as well. I think I can't remember. Again, it was mentioned a few episodes ago. Somebody mentioned it. Like Hardman Dan has the mantra of, you know, it's wrestling. It's meant to be fun. If you're not having fun, why are you doing it?
Yes. No, it's absolutely true. I think it's what makes you quite popular as well. I think because when you then have fun and you're doing, I think it's something that pushes you to improve as well, because when you get stale, it stops being fun. So you want to do new things. You want to wrestle different people. You want to be in different places, and just I think it's a really important part of the motivation that takes people further in this.
It helps you progress. Like, because if it's not fun, then obviously you're not enjoying it anymore. You've got to lose that passion. As long as you find it fun, that passion is just going to burn brighter, and it's going to motivate you. It's going to push you to they say, just keep getting better. If you're having fun, you want to go have fun in new places. So that's gonna, you got to expand your radius of where you're looking to work and where to work. So I'll get the generic question out of the way. I mentioned it obviously before. As you just said, you love wrestling. That's you're often a huge wrestling fan. So is it something you kind of started watching at a young age? Did you start watching it and think, oh man, that's what I want to be when I grow up? Or was it something you got into a bit later on in life?
Yeah, so I used to watch it as a child. We in Italy, where I come from, unfortunately, they stopped showing wrestling on TV after the couple of deaths between Eddie Guerrero and Chris Benoit. They decided maybe it's not a good thing to show on a Sunday morning to children anymore. So they stopped showing it on free TV. And because of that, I stopped watching it for a while. Until then, what happened was I think it was WrestleMania 27 when a friend of mine just went, why don't we watch WrestleMania this week? And we're like, yeah, why not? Let's watch WrestleMania. Then, well, it's a bit of a sad story because unfortunately then this friend of mine had passed away. So we went on to watch that WrestleMania to like kind of honor him. And then from then on, I'm not stopped anymore. I've watched again, and obviously, when you watch it as an adult, it changes. It's a different way from when you are a child. Because when you're a child, you believe in it. And I was talking about this to my travel buddy, Aiden Sparks. He is my travel buddy. He comes with me every time I go wrestling. I take him wrestling, and I was talking to him like as a child. I could that one feud that really I was so passionate about was Cena and JBL. As a child, I was so they were showing. I don't know if they were showing this kind of clips in this country, but on the show that they would show on Italian free TV, they would say, and this is what happened in the pay-per-view, and they would just show still images, and they were all black and white because they were all piss and blood. And I was, as a child, I was like, no, why I can't watch the pay-per-view? Why? I couldn't ask my father to buy me a wrestling pay-per-view because he would have not done it. So as a child, I was with that feud. Obviously, I hated JBL because it was so unfair that he was winning the belt. How he wasn't even a wrestler. So I had that kind of passion towards it. And then as an adult, I watched it and I realized it was still great fun, great entertainment, even though I knew that the difference, the kayfabe is not, as an adult you understand what it is, but still, and then what I used to, in lockdown, I used to do streaming as well on Twitch in Italy, obviously, and I used to do some interviews sometimes. And one time I thought, I want to interview a wrestler, and I interviewed an Italian wrestler called Mirko Gori, and I asked him, I was like, how do you get into wrestling? And he gave me quite a. He said, well, it's not really easy. I went to London to learn it when I was 17, and then he's had a very difficult path to get to it, because in Italy, maybe just now they're starting some schools. And I interviewed, and he was saying, oh no, it's quite hard. So I had this idea that it was a very difficult thing to get into. But I was curious, And I did a bit of Googling. I found PPW. And I thought, well, if I get to be in a ring at least once, that would be amazing for me. And so I went there. I did the 6 weeks beginners course that they offer, and I don't know, it was working. Like I felt like I could do it, and I carried on training, and then I got onto shows, and it just filled for me something that I've always had as a child. I've always wanted to be at the center of attention. Then I lost that growing up, but wrestling has given me that back. Has given me that I'm in the middle of an audience and everybody's looking at me, and that's my time to have fun.
Yeah. But that explains the shirts. You know, that's definitely a look at me kind of wardrobe. It's like, I mean, very few men can pull those shirts off, mate. And like, I'm like, every time I see it, I'm like, mate, that shirt's amazing. I get very jealous. I'm like, I couldn't wear that shirt, but you look boss with it. I was gonna say that's why I saw you. Obviously, True Grit. You know, you mentioned Mr. Fire. Yourself and Aidan were at the True Grit show at York last time I was there. So yeah, I got to speak to you both there, kind of thing. But that's the thing about wrestling. Like I said, it's just I love talking. That's one of the best things about doing this and getting to talk to people, you know, about wrestling is still having that passion, still having that, just finding it fun. Like I said, when you're a kid, it's unreal. You know, you just buy into everything. You know, the good guys, the bad guys. It's just wrestling 101. When you get older, obviously, you know, it's still the fun's still there, the passion's still there, but it's mixed in with appreciation because you kind of got an idea of how hard they work to entertain people, and you have to respect that and appreciate that effort, kind of thing. But still, when it's done right, it makes you a kid again. You know, it's kind of like I liken it to, I'm a massive comic book nerd, so like, you know, I mark out when I watch quality MCU films, not all of them, but you know, the really good ones. Like first time I saw Avengers, I was a grown adult, and I was marking out like a child. I was just like, oh my god, you know, you got Thor, you got Hulk. You know, I know it's just a film, I know they're just actors, but in that moment, that suspension of disbelief, oh mate, it's just, and that's what wrestling is.
Yeah, absolutely. In general, I'm not a big comic book fan, but I love stories in general. I think stories are an amazing thing that we have invented to make sense of the world as human beings, and I love storytelling, and I think that there is I think that is what makes wrestling great. The moves are great, doing cool moves they are impressive, but at the end of the day, you remember the story. So that is something that I try to concentrate every time I have a match. I try to think, what story am I telling? What's gonna stick with the audience? And when we plan the match and we decide what moves to do, I'm probably a bit annoying for some people, but I'm like very strict with like things need to make sense for me, you know. And I'm like, I recognize that sometimes I'm a bit like, I don't know. Probably annoying because I'm saying, I don't know, I don't think this thing makes sense, or like if I do this thing, how would you react? And sometimes people are a bit just like, I don't know, let's do the moves.
No, that's you're talking about is like psychology 101. You know, everything matters, everything should mean something, and not just doing it, but how you react to the other person doing it, kind of thing. It's just, I mean, I'm going, you know, I can only speak for my side of sort of thing, but that's not annoying to me. That is just kind of like, it's just you like I say, you're telling a story. You can't tell a story if you can't be bothered explaining half of it. You know, you don't just jump from the start to the end. You need that middle bit as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's what really makes a match stand out for me, and so it is something that I try to concentrate on a lot. I try to think of the kind of expressions that I am putting on at any moment in the match, and I think that is the reason why I liked to be a heel more than a face so far, even though things are a bit changing for me right now. But because you know, when you're a heel, you've got a lot of time when that you are in control, and in that moment you can do whatever you want, you know, and you can interact. I feel like I've always felt like as a heel I had more time to interact with the audience, or rather than more time, maybe more freedom to interact with the audience, because I've always felt like as a face you need to get that enthusiasm for you, and there are those quite stereotypical things that you need to do to get people clapping, to get the people chanting, and I always felt like that's, I don't know, I felt like it was repetitive for me. While as a heel, you know, you're there standing up while the opponent is down, and you're open to the entire audience. You can do what you want.
You can give them a kick. You can like smile at the audience. You can like annoy the audience. Yeah, that's it. You've got that freedom. I think, you know, it's just, you've got that more creative freedom to be just very heelish. You know, a nasty man, a bad man. You can just kind of be like, yeah, I don't like you. You don't like me. I don't care. You know, I'm just going to give him a quick kick. I'm going to laugh about it because I can. It's just stuff like that where you just like, but yeah, you're on about the moments. You know, the Planet show, one of the Planet shows that I've seen you on was when, you know, you came out, nobody knew who your opponent was going to be. You was on the mic, and obviously Kemper comes out, and it's just like, oh. But I remember that, you know, not just obviously because it was Kemper, but it's the way that you worked it, you know, the bit beforehand, it was the reaction to Kemper. There were some amazing matches on that card, as there always is at Planet. That's one of the things that I always remember first about that show. It's just, because like you sort of said, it's the moments in wrestling. Great matches are great, but it's the moments that stick with you. It's the moments that you kind of look back on 6 months, a year down the line, 5 years down the line. You know, even like you sort of said, you know, you still remember those John Cena JBL matches for the aftermath and stuff like that. It's more of the photos that you saw. It's not the match as a whole. It's just those moments that they captured in the photos that stick with you. But that match against Kemper, that was it. Really, I was just like, wow.
Well, you know what? I am. That's been something very strange, that match for me, because I didn't know the kind of match I was supposed to have with him. I was really looking forward to that match when I was asked to have it, because I mean, Kemper is amazing and he's doing so well. He's got a rocket strapped to a rocket at the moment. It's honestly, and I was so excited to have that match. But I thought I thought I was gonna have. I wasn't told that it was like kind of a character match. So I was a bit surprised when I learned that on the day, and I honestly, the way that I've had so many compliments about it that I don't know what changed in my mindset at that moment. I thought, well, okay, I'm not gonna have the match that I was expecting, but I don't know. I've got 2 minutes with him. I need to I need to make it count. Um, so I did my best. I thought, and again, maybe I thought again. I went past that the disappointment, and I thought I forgot 2 minutes. I need to have 2 fun minutes, and I went into it. I did it, and it's been months now, and across the months, every person that I've met after that have been telling me, "Oh, the match we had with Kemper was, oh my god, it was so fun, it was amazing." And then it's quite surprising and quite rewarding, because I wasn't expecting so much good feedback about it.
Goes to show you when you've got a character though, like we also, I know a lot of people, especially now, that characters are kind of back, they're becoming a big deal, people are working on establishing characters. When you've got that character, like you said, even if it's only 2 or 3 minutes, it becomes more memorable. It means something because you've done half of the battle by having this character. We know who you are. We've already made that sort of connection to whether we like you or we don't like you, whether we're going to cheer you or boo you. And it's just that 2 or 3 minutes is just pure. It's just a moment of, it becomes memorable because of the character that you've created.
Yeah, thank you. It's really every time I hear somebody giving me good feedback on that match, I'm very happy about it.
I'm going to go to the another Planet match because you're one of the few people. This is an out and out match. This is great from start to finish. Yourself against Jack Bandicoot. I think you're the only person in Planet that's beaten Jack Bandicoot. So again, yeah, we're going from like a 3-minute match with Kemper to a solid quality match where you beat him clean as well. I know the belt was in the ring, but you didn't hit him with the belt.
I mean, if the referee counts 1, 2, 3, it's always a clean win.
Exactly. So, dude, yeah, I mean, that's like I said, the difference in what your character can do. You can have those 3-minute matches, or hey, yeah, you can have quality matches from start to finish, and you beat the John Cena of Planet, basically.
Yeah, I did. No, I am really, I love going to Planet. It's always, I think I've loved going there as audience, and loved going there to help, loved going there to wrestle, and it's a great environment. We're all good people, and it's a fun show. You get to do stupid things, but still, what makes it a really good show, I think, that there's a lot of silliness and fun, but there's also a lot of very good wrestling.
Yes. Yeah, they walk that line very well of being, like you say, a family show, like a lot of fun. But the people in the ring can have amazing matches as well, and they find that they've got that balance so well down, where the kids aren't bored by out and out wrestling. There's enough character work going on. There's enough sort of stuff going on to keep the kids entertained. But the adults that are there that are wrestling fans, they know they're going to get quality matches as well. So I think that that speaks volumes for the people that kind of Jake and everybody else involved. They know exactly what they're doing, and they just kind of hit it on the head every time.
Yeah. No, it creates a great mix in the audience because you have families, and you have. It's quite difficult sometimes to really, because you're either a family show in that kind of sense where you get families, and you get a few wrestling fan, but very few, mostly kids, or you have a wrestling show where people are really into wrestling. But yeah, you're right there. There's a complete mix of people, because if you love wrestling, you'll enjoy watching good wrestling, and you'll also love the silliness, of course. And if you're a child, it's really entertaining. So it really gets a very good mix, and it's a quite special show. I think it's.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't think that gets acknowledged enough for me. That's what Planet does. Like, unlike any other promotion, really. But talking rewinding, you said earlier about the look at me. You kind of brought that back in. Especially with the character, very much all eyes on me. Obviously, Blackheart is another promotion that I love to acknowledge as of when possible. obviously Geisley Theatre. You know, for somebody who kind of enjoys storytelling, the dramatics, you know, working in Geisley Theatre, I think, you know, it's an awesome location. And I just think, you know, it must be great for you guys to work in as well.
Yeah, this is, I got there because I've seen the theater in photos and videos, and I was like, oh my god, if I can wrestle in a theater, you know, like these are, you know, some people take them for granted maybe, but when I speak to my friends in Italy who are into wrestling or just know what wrestling is, and I say, you know, I wrestle in a theater, they're like, what? You know, it's something that I got into Blackheart because I had a match with Sammy Blue and Gang Ho. It was a tag team match where they were a heel tag team match, and I was with, again, Aiden. And we had a match, and then I met them again in another show, and I said, I've seen that you wrestle in a theater that looks amazing, like, and Gango was like, oh well, just come along, I'll help out. That they're very friendly, you know, talk to them and see what they can do. And I did that. I got on the show, and that I don't know, it's just a great location. I love the theater is really cool. There's the lighting. I love the lighting. There's that red lighting that there is, and they've got quite loyal wrestling fans there. There's a good audience that is quite loyal, and yeah, it is great. And I mean, I get to go there every month, so it's also quite regular.
First Sunday of every month, so you know, we'll shout that out. If they've got a show coming up, I believe it's be this Sunday. It's the first Sunday this Sunday, so I'm sure there'll be a show on. But yeah, that's the thing. I mean, it's just, yeah, like you sort of said, it's the theatre aspect. But yeah, like you sort of said, the fan base at Blackheart, you know, obviously, I don't know if it's cut off on the graphic, but you know, you might see their little logo at the bottom of the screen. You know, I try and hype up their shows for them as much as possible. But they're buggers for. You know, we mentioned social media earlier. Sometimes I've known a Blackheart show come up, and I have no idea what matches are on it. You know, they haven't done anything on socials to hype it up, but they don't need to. Like you said, the fan base is there. They don't have to have any matches, and they'll sell out the theatre. It's like, that's amazing.
Yeah. No, that's true. That's true. Unfortunately, it's you know what? It's not it takes a lot of effort to be able to be consistent on social media, especially when it's not, obviously it's not your first occupation, your first job. You got other things in life, got family, you've got things that happen, and it's for me it's so hard to keep up. So I understand that it's hard. It could be hard for anyone, even for promoters sometimes. But yeah, they've got they're lucky that they have a very good loyal audience, and you get to have a good show pretty much every month.
Oh, that's it. You know, again, you know, during this, I kind of did the intro of it's the highlight reel basically of yourself that I'd use for the coming soon. I will use it as the intro for this episode. And I used a few matches, you know, from Blackheart in the clips, because there was just, like I said, it's that promotion. It looks good on camera. They know what they're doing. You've got great people to work with. It's very much like, say, you know, you seem to be very fortunate with where you work. You seem to be surrounded by very sort of like-minded, character-driven, storytelling wrestlers.
Yeah. Everybody there as well. I think they're quite story-driven people. They love the long-term storytelling. Currently the story around the Blackheart title has been going on half a year, I think, for many months. So that's also quite rare thing if you think about it, to have such. You have it in the major promotions, of course, because they have the capacity there to have a production that keeps up with it, you know. But it is quite rare to to have something like that. It is. Yeah, I do think it's an underappreciated promotion.
But it's because they're doing it so well. People don't need the weekly episodic TVs to remember what they saw a month ago, kind of thing, because they left such an impression at the last show. People are going into the next show knowing and remembering exactly what's what. So they're kind of just picking it up, month by month and telling this story. So yeah. I think that that's great. But again, that's what Blackheart do. We praise Planet. We're going to praise Blackheart as well for kind of doing the same thing. But again, talking of stories, looking through like YouTube, looking at matches and everything like that. And I know when he was on the show, it only seems like a few months ago, but it's probably like over a year. When I last spoke to Axl, he was singing your praises. He was talking about just how great Luca is, and he should be everywhere. But obviously, that kind of stems from you two kind of having that rivalry. You had the belt. You had his belt for a while.
It was. He proposed to me to do that kind of little feud between us, and it was great. I loved it. That to this day, that's my only ever opportunity with a belt that I've had so far. It might change because this Sunday I do have my first official title match. So who knows? I might get I might get to have the opportunity to hold the title soon. But that I love that because I love that feud with Axl because he is great. He likes to help out other people as well. And the character that he's got his character down to a T. So it's really easy to work with him because he knows exactly what to do. And even when he's like, oh, I don't know what I'm gonna do there, then you go in the ring and he's just gonna come up on the spot with something hilarious. So I find it really easy to work with him every time, and I'm also quite proud of the fact that is what brought then to them having the in-house championship. Really, it was that little feud that I've had with him, and that then his clown title became the in-house championship. So unfortunately, then because of life, I have not been able to be on an in-house PPW since then, which is quite annoying for me because that's another place I love, and it's the place that has given me wrestling. So
it just means that when you do get a chance to do it, it's just going to mean all that more. You're going to get that kind of like Luca's back. This is it, bang! Like, give me that belt. It's going to mean something. But yeah, that feud with Axl, that's just kind of like, again, I can only speak, from this side of the curtain. I can't, I'm not educated in that sense, but I'm looking at that thinking, that's got to be kind of thing where you come out of it, that finishes, and it just helps your confidence. You're just a better wrestler because of it. You've learned so much, back and forth. You must have kind of been walking on clouds, or walking on air, or walking on clouds, but walking on air afterwards, and just feeling a bit more confident about yourself. The character's leveled up, basically.
Yeah, but I think that is a really important thing to have that, at least for me. I think I am a person who learns a lot more by doing things rather than studying. It's really important to do match study, watch matches, learn, even when you go at show, trying to like understand that those little nuances that big names put in their matches to understand what really brings it to the next level. But for me, I have learned so much more by having matches with some people. So having that opportunity specifically to be a champion, and feel what am I supposed to do when I'm having a belt? How am I supposed to present myself? And with many other things, by having matches with other people, with obviously much better than me. But that's like, you've mentioned Bandicoot earlier. That was great opportunity. Kemper, great opportunity with Kemper. I had a great opportunity to wrestle Enserego as well on a show that was private for children, for foster children in Bradford, and that also learned a lot in that, and I learned a lot also recently. For example, I think that was actually my last time that I was at PPW, where I wrestled Liam, the coach, and he said, "We're just gonna go in there and wrestle," which kind of, scary. But honestly, that match taught me so much, because I learned what do I need to learn. I understood what do I need to learn to have a to go in the ring and have a match without planning, and I learned it by having that match. So for me, really, these opportunities are so, I take them very, very seriously, because they are the opportunities for me to improve.
I think it was when I had gentleman Jim McGuire on. He was telling me a story of him and Liam just wrestled for 30 minutes. Just, I don't know if there was nobody else around, or it's a quiet day, or they just found themselves in the ring, but just them two. And Liam was just like, "Oh, let's just have a wrestle." And Jim was like, "Okay." And then they just like transitioned, bent, stretched, twisted, reversed, counter, reversed, just for 30 minutes. I think Jim said, he learned more in that 30 minutes than he's learned, like over a period of time beforehand, kind of thing. It was crazy.
Yeah.
It was priceless.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's, I think, I think obviously theories are theories, so you never know if they're true or not, but it is a thing. Like some people learn better by watching, some people learn better by doing. So, and when you're learning an art form like wrestling, I think it's important to understand what's your best way to learn. Like something that annoys me about myself, though, is that that means that when I do training, and Liam is like explaining a spot, he could explain it to me 10 times. If I don't go in there and do it myself first, I'm not gonna understand what I need to do. But which is yes,
I'm exactly the same, and I totally get it. I'm exactly the same. The sense of like, I've found myself in my job. I've found myself like in a new role, and I was kind of sat there, doing the normal generic training kind of thing, sitting there watching somebody do something, and I sat there like, yep, okay, cool. Woke up the next morning and forgot everything. I was just like, it wasn't until I started doing it, even if they were guiding my hand, they've been like, right, telling me where to click, right, as long as I'm clicking it, it's starting to sink in, I'm doing it, right, kind of like muscle memory. It's like, right, if I do this 20 times, I've got it, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah. It is like that. Learning is you gotta understand what's your best. How do you learn? How do you learn best?
Let's say it's not the same for everybody. Like that's the wonderful world of wrestling. I've heard it so many times. What works for one person isn't going to work for the next. Everybody's kind of got to find their own way or their own unique sort of style, or how you. Again, that's got to come down to learning as well. So it's just but now what works. Kind of like how somebody needs to teach, and you can be like, yeah, cool. That's I'm going to learn quick if we do it this way. And being somewhere like Pursuit, I'm pretty certain they'll obviously do what suits you best.
Yeah. I think that that's what makes them a really great school. There's a lot of Liam puts a lot of effort in helping you understand what makes you unique and yourself, and what works best for you. He puts a lot of effort in it, and it shows, because I went to North last weekend in Newcastle, and half, if not more, of the card was people that train the PPW. And it's, and they're all people that are doing amazing everywhere internationally. It's just whoever goes through that school just improves. It's just a fact.
But that's good for everybody, that's kind of like, because they sort of say half the battle in wrestling, especially in your first 2, 3, 4 years kind of thing, is the networking aspect. Obviously, I've mentioned seeing you at True Grit, but I can only imagine how hard it is. Like, you've said it before, life gets in the way, you've got other responsibilities, you've got things to do. As much as you want to go to this show and this show and this show, even as just a fan, it's hard to put yourself out there and just let people know who you are, show your face, help out when needed. But it seems like that is a massive part of it.
Yeah, it is, and it is the hardest one as well. It's the hardest one. I also have this thing that I feel quite ridiculous when I've done a series of promos recently to present my new it's not a completely new character, but it's changed a bit, and I've not watched them back. I can't do it. I just feel so ridiculous, but they work, like I get good feedback, so it must work. But if I watch myself back, I just think I'm so ridiculous. It's really difficult, and that gets in the way, when you need to promote yourself, because you need to be confident with that, and you need to pretend you're confident with that.
Project that confidence. It's just like
and so social media, I've never in my life I really use them. I just every time I feel like, oh, I should post this thing, I think, who cares? Like, why am I even sharing? No one cares. And it gets really in the way, and I must say it is something that has slowed me down. I feel like if I was better at that, I would have had more opportunities than what I had. I'm trying to get better in that, because, as I said at the start, it needs to be something fun. If it starts to become something that is weighing on me, it doesn't give me that. I don't feel like doing it, and I'm not a person that does something that feels uncomfortable. But I'm trying, because then I know that that's in the way from that. There is an obstacle I need to go past to then get to other things that I will find fun.
Yeah. Oh, dude. Yeah. No, I totally see. I'm kind of very, as much as obviously as I try to hype up, like work the left side and stuff like that. It's never about me. If I ever post anything, it's always about the guests, or I try and sort of like, when I edit these videos out, sometimes I cut like 10 minutes out of an episode. It's just all me talking. So I'm like, nobody needs to hear that. Everybody wants to hear, the guest kind of thing. So I get the confidence thing, and I kind of get, if I was trying to hype myself up, oh mate, yeah, I'm terrible. I suck at that. But I say it's just, I was going to say, somebody who seems to be doing it really well at the minute, or seems to be having a lot of fun with it, is Rex Heartless.
Oh yes, absolutely.
He's definitely someone like, he doesn't post a lot. He's not, he doesn't spam. He doesn't post consistently, but when he does, it seems to be like, yeah, he's having fun with it. So it's kind of like it's quality over quantity.
Absolutely, no, Rex, absolutely, yeah. And also with his wrestling is improved a lot recently. Like I have been. There's been a period where I've not been able to go train the PPW for some time, and I came back and I was like, so sounds bad saying surprise because it's not like, but it was just because it was such a short period of time, and then I've came back and I've seen him improving a lot, and yeah, I do think it's definitely a hero in his own town, which I feel like for him is probably, as I said, maybe for him is like, I can imagine if I was wrestling in my hometown, I would be forever. Like for me, probably that would be the peak of it. There wouldn't be anything better than that. So yeah,
You'd be walking around like 10 foot tall, just like, yeah.
yeah.
But that, again, I was talking about network, and I think, a lot of it comes not easier, but it kind of comes smoother the more confidence you've got. And obviously, the more confidence you've got, that confidence comes with experience and kind of like, just lots of other things as well. But I think when you've got that confidence, which, yeah, I think Rex has got in the minute, because, he's the Barnsley champion and all this kind of sort of stuff. I think it's just, yeah, it's that momentum. It's starting to roll. But like I said, that's what I was saying before about, you do have the momentum. Like, so that's why I was pointing out, like Planet and stuff. You're the only person to beat Jack Bandicoot. You've had memorable moments. You've had several memorable moments. I mentioned the Kemper one. You had that Axl and Chili Heatwave match. Where I don't reference the film in case there's any kids watching it, but you kind of had that human centipede moment.
Yes.
But again, it's another bit, and it was a fun moment. It was a great match, but it's the moments in there like that are just memorable. So for me, I know it doesn't mean anything, and it's if somebody said it to me, it'd be like water off a duck's back. But mate, you should have that confidence. You should be walking tall. You are absolutely smashing it.
Yeah, I do have the confidence when it comes to wrestling. I do have the confidence. I'll say that. I know obviously there are lots of things I have to learn, and as I said, it's something that I feel like I can learn by having those opportunities. So that I need to seek out those opportunities. I need to get to them. And by having them, I know that I'm gonna learn. I know myself. I know that I'm gonna take something from a good match that I've had, and I'm gonna be like, oh, let's see, this is what works. And I know that, and it's. Recently, I have decided also to do some tweaks to my character to make it feel more unique, authentic, because I've realized that which is I think probably not quite normal for everyone at the start. I was very much relying on being inspired by other wrestlers, and trying to be something that the audience could recognize and could understand. So I've toned myself down in certain aspects of my character that I've just decided to stop toning down. I just thought I'll just go all in on it, and I think what changed it, and what I think what makes something, what makes your journey to understand your character, who you want to be in wrestling, something easy, is when you have a specific goal, when you have a target, you want to reach that specific things, and then you can concentrate all your effort and all your, you know, your aesthetic, your moves, your character, what you're gonna say to the audience, all of that then can concentrate towards that goal. And I have realized that my ultimate desire, the thing that is gonna be the peak of my experience in wrestling, will be having the opportunity to wrestle back in Italy, because it's something that is growing. It's new in Italy, having schools, having shows around the country. It's just growing now, and I can see that it is becoming. People are bringing the experience that they've had abroad, and they're bringing it back there, and they are shaping what Italian wrestling is. You know, like we know that every kind of part of the world where there is wrestling, they've got their specific way of doing it. You know, there's Mexican wrestling is something, Japanese wrestling is something, UK wrestling is something. They've got their specific differences and, you know, references, and I can see that the Italian wrestling is doing that effort. So for me, that's my goal, is to be able to contribute to that. So I have stopped thinking, what can people recognize, what can people understand in the UK about me. And I've realized that I should bring myself, my cultural references, my roots. I should bring them to the scene, and that can be something that no one else does, and that is why I've chosen as a catchphrase, I've chosen unico, unique, because I am. There is no one in Italy or in the UK that has thought of bringing the culture and the aesthetics of my hometown, which is Naples, into wrestling. And that's undebatable, because there is no one else that does that. So I am unique. I am unico. And I know that's gonna show. I know that's gonna show. Even if people don't understand it, even if people don't understand what my references are, they will see that. If they want to see that, it's gonna have to be me.
Dude, I love that, because like you sort of said, it's just, you still do the character thing, but it's genuine. You like sort of said, you're pulling you from your roots, from inspirations, from heritage, and it's, I think, you know, we mentioned at the start how when things are fun, they radiate more. The fans are more open to things that are fun. They're also more open to things that are genuine, you know, and because you're doing it and it's coming from that place, you're going to have that passion, and that's going to come across as well. So yeah, the fans subconsciously, whether they know it or not, will react to that, and it'll kind of soak in, and it'll just kind of be like, okay, so yeah, you know, you're on this path. I think you're going to you'll find it works very well.
Yeah. I've had so far the opportunity to show this new version of myself only once at Blackheart last month, and it felt so right. It honestly felt so right. I felt really happy. I felt really proud, and I felt like I made the right decision.
I'm so happy for you as well, because like you said, if it feels right, that just means you're going to enjoy it more. You're going to sort of, you know, you can just let loose. I'm really excited now to sort of see, you know, what comes from this. I want to kind of sort of see, you know, where it takes you. Man, I'm happy you're happy. I think that's amazing.
It was, I mean, it was quite a good promo I just did like that on the fly.
Dude, you got me. I'm like, hey, I've got goosebumps on goosebumps. I think my bumps are all goosey. I do want to rewind it though, because you said something a while ago, and I didn't really touch on it. And obviously, I want to touch on it because you mentioned you've got a title shot coming up.
Yes.
Yes, and that's huge. For me, I'm a massive fan of titles. I know there's that sort of there's two mindsets, but for me, even being in a title match means something. It means the fans believe that you are a contender. You're a threat to the champion. If you win, that's the promotion giving you that validation. They're giving you a promotion. They're sort of trusting you to be, to hold that belt. That to me is a massive pat on the back and a congratulations on all your hard work. But yeah, where's the match at and who's it against?
It's at Gisley Theatre this Sunday for Blackheart, and it's against Joe Sedgwick. Yes, so it's really exciting. It's really exciting, not only because it's for a title, because I get to wrestle another very impressive talent, and I'm quite excited to see how we mix up. No, as you said, it's getting it is a recognition. It is a recognition getting the title, definitely, although it's not everything, because you can still have a career without winning many titles, but as you said, it's nice to have that recognition from the promotion saying we appreciate what you bring in to us for us.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not the be all and end all. I just kind of think it's nice. Like sort of said, it's a pat on the back. I mean, guys like Jake the Snake Roberts, Mr. Perfect, Rick Rude. Reel the names off. They never won the big belt. They didn't need it. They're still legends. They're still awesome. But yeah, against Joe Sedgwick, that's going to be again, like I said, at Gisley Theatre. Beautiful location. Great match. And
it will be my opportunity. As I said before, it's going to be a great opportunity for me to learn what it means to have a title match. I'm going to have to bring something different to it. I'm going to have to bring, and it's great to have the chance to see what this new version of myself would bring to a title match as well, as a face, which it's a lot of new things altogether. So yeah, very, very excited for it.
Oh, of course, yeah. We talked earlier about working the heel and stuff. I didn't even sort of cotton on to obviously at Blackheart, you kind of like said, the new character, the new mindset, bringing the uniqueness to the table. Obviously, yeah, you kind of like you've made that switch. You've got to be working sort of face.
Yeah.
Because obviously up until this point at Blackheart, you've been heel, you've been beating up Sammy Blue or beating up Chili Heatwave or beating up Gung Ho Motley or stuff like that. So yeah, this is fresh. This is going to be fun. We said at the start, to rewind again. It's all about having fun. It's about keeping it fresh. Mate, don't get any fresher than this.
No, for really a lot. I just realized now talking to you there is a lot of firsts.
Yeah.
So it's really is. Yeah, it's really good. It's really great. I'm really grateful for it.
Well, obviously, it's at Blackheart. It's going to be, it's going to be a great match. You're involved. Joe's involved. Joe's a talent that I've kind of cottoned onto a lot recently, and I've kind of following very closely. I think he's amazing what he does. But yeah, and obviously he's working heel at Blackheart, which is weird to see. But yeah, it's going to be a good counterbalance, and I kind of hope it's going to be something you can get your teeth into as well. I don't want it to be one and done. I kind of like. I can hopefully see this being a few matches. If you're unsuccessful this time, give Luca another chance. He must have been cheated out of it somewhere. I'm looking at my crystal ball and be like, no, if Luca didn't win, there's been shenanigans. Give him a second shot. But then that gives you something to put your teeth into, and it helps. Like I said, it's learning by repetition. It's learning by doing. the more you
Yeah.
get to be this character against a familiar face as well, that's when you're going to be building that confidence and building that sort of, yeah, you're going to get to know the new you, the good guy you.
Yeah, yeah, yes, yeah. It's as I said, last time I went there and I did and I did my match as a face with my new song and my new aesthetic and character, and it was new, and I didn't. It was a surprise again. So many times I get into a match without knowing how, how is gonna and how am I gonna feel about it, and many times I'm surprised by what the people tell me about it. But in this case it was also what I felt it different, I felt it new, I felt it good, I felt it right. And now in this opportunity I'm gonna discover something new about myself. And yeah, it's exciting because I'm on this new, I'm happy to portray something I am really proud of, which is my culture. But I'm also excited to see how it feels as well, because it feels good. And yeah, I can't wait to see what's next.
I'm excited for you. I've just clocked the time. I said I would keep you for an hour, so apologies. I've kind of done that, but I've just got. We was talking about obviously wrestling in Italy. I'll make this the last thing. I'll let you get going on. I promise you. But I know PPW did the. They went to Rome. I think it was last year.
Yeah,
I'm correct with time. It might have been the start of this year. It might have been last year. I can't remember exactly what it was. It just years feel like months and months feel like years. But yeah, obviously, if PPW were to return to Rome, um, that's got to be a massive. You've got to be kicking indoors and
I
demanding a place on that plane.
I do. I definitely do. I definitely do. Because then I think it would be quite, if I can do a good job, obviously. I think it would be quite interesting for an Italian audience to have somebody who is Italian, but he wrestles abroad and he just is here as a guest. I think it's again probably quite unique.
Yeah. But it makes it accessible, like sort of said. If there's kids in the audience, it makes them be like, well, this is a guy that I can relate to. He's somebody from my country who
Yeah,
went away and learned wrestling somewhere else, And like I say, if wrestling in Italy is building and building and building, and they're going to start having more schools, it's going to be, these kids are going to be like, well, this guy went miles to go and do it. I don't have to, but it's definitely
yeah,
something I
yeah.
can do, kind of thing.
Oh
It's
yeah,
good.
absolutely. I think that is part of what I would like. The reason why I would like to go back and do that is because I would like to show that is much more accessible than what people might think. You don't really know if you're gonna be good at this stuff or not. You need to get into it, and right now it's getting easier and easier to get into it. So I think that if you love wrestling and if you like being at the center of attention like I do, you're gonna enjoy it. Get into it, and it's just gonna give something else to your life. Being able to do something that you love is not something. It's not something that happens very often. So
Very few people get to say that. I as close as I get is I get I'm living vicariously through you guys when I get to talk to you, every week kind of thing. So this is me kind of touching the dream a little bit, but through other people. But yeah, that's it. If you can go back to, I'm going to wait with bated breath now. If PPW do announce another sort of trip to Rome, I'm just going to be like, please, please, look. I'm just going to be like, freaking four-leaf clovers. I'm going to be breaking chicken wishbones. I'm going to be like, Luca's got to go. Luca's got to go, man. What are you doing? It's inspirational, as well. That's the thing for me. Like I said, these kids in Italy can kind of look at you and be like, oh shit, this is something we can do.
yes, absolutely. I would feel I'm incredibly proud of bringing that.
Dude. But I think that's a really high note to kind of to wrap up on. I just think that is, yeah, I think it's just amazing. Dude, thank you so much, you know, for taking the time out and coming to talk. It's always a genuine pleasure when I get to speak to somebody who I can, you know, you can tell just enjoys wrestling. They've got that passion and it's fun. You know, that's the key word for me. As long as you're having fun and you're enjoying it, dude, it's just, yeah, it hypes me up. You know, I've got more and more hyped as we've talked. Just
to be honest, I feel energized. I feel like I want to go and have a match now.
Thankfully, I'm over here, so we're good. But mate, honestly, genuinely, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure. I would normally at this point sort of say, do you want to shout out, you know, like the Instagram and stuff? Obviously, if you want to, you know, it might give you a little bit of a nudge to be like, oh crap, well, if I get a load more followers, I better start posting some stuff. But it's up to you.
Yeah. Well, yeah, my Instagram is Brigante Wrestling. I do want to try and do more promos, so I'm gonna work on that. And
just put highlight reels on of your matches and stuff. If worst comes to worst, you know, just make sure Jeeves is at a show. Get Jeeves to collaborate with you, and just have a profile full of Jeeves's reels of your matches and stuff.
Yeah,
easy job. You don't have to do anything. Just click accept. There you go. But if you're not following Luca, please, generally, you know, please do. If you see him on a poster, if you see me advertising a show like Planet or Blackheart, you know, anything like that, UKW, and you know, Luca's on there, and you can get to the show, go to the show, show some support. Just, yeah, you know, support your local promotion. If you're watching this and you're not local to either of us, go support your local, you know, go support your local promotion. I can't speak. I'm that hyped. But words are just like, but yeah, support British wrestling basically is what I'm saying. You know, you're never more than 30 minutes away from a good show nowadays. So, you know, there's no excuse. But dude, thank you so much. And everybody else, thank you for watching. Hit like, subscribe, share, comment, all the generic stuff we ask you to do. And keep your eyes peeled. Obviously, more guests coming up soon. And yeah, remember, always work the left side. Goodbye.
Bye.